No, but you just. I don't know how to pull it up. Right back to it. What's up? Getting right to the questions. Wu-Tang says, I have a realtor sending me off-market deals, leads. How would I go about getting them under contract? So I'm assuming this realtor wants you to go through them. So you just submit an offer. And if you have your own contract, you can use it. Or if the realtor has a contract, you can use their contract. But make sure there's a clause that allows you to assign the property. Best list to cold call. All of them, really. I mean, absentee owners, probate, pre-foreclosure. So just get a list and cold call. So yeah, try them all. Hey Dara, I had a question. This is Hassani Hendricks. How do you get your repair estimates from a contractor or yourself, contractor? Hassani, go onto my channel. I have a video explaining how to get the repair estimates. But I do use a contractor. I don't know it myself. There's ways that I was taught to calculate it very quickly if I haven't seen the property based on square footage. But the best bet is to go and ask a contractor. What do you offer them in return? That's a great question. Some contractors do ask for a fee just to come out. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, here's water. Some contractors do ask for a fee to come out and give a quote. Most don't. So if that's their own business practice, then there's nothing that I offer them, to be honest. But it is in the hopes to potentially use them, or maybe you can tell your cash buyers that, hey, I got this quote from a contractor, you can use them if you buy this deal from me. How do you fill out the contract? That's a very vague question, Reggie, so I'm not quite sure the answer. Best way to find buyers for hotels? Don't know, because I've never had the situation, but I'm assuming they're commercial buyers. So whatever city you're in, you can go to your Real Estate Investing Association meeting, also known as a RIA. And specifically here, there's RIAs for wholesalers, there's RIAs for cash buyers, there's RIAs for people who like multifamily investing and commercial. So if I was you, I would go to that commercial RIA subgroup meeting. You can look up meetup.com, or you can simply market it like you market it to any other property to a buyer. You can use Craigslist, whatever channels, and just specify that you're looking for a commercial cash buyer to purchase a hotel from you. I don't think it's any different than any other type of deal that you would want to sell. And that was Jovan Nurse. Christian Wallace asked, can this video be saved? I won't be able to stay and watch right now. Yeah, so this video will be on my channel for you to rewatch however many times you'd like. And then this is Andre Scaife, I believe. Hi, new real estate investor. I just got a motivated seller with a duplex. I don't have that much knowledge on duplexes. Is it different from a regular family house? I do a walkthrough Friday. I'm nervous. So yeah, you can because a duplex is considered it's considered anything 1 to 4 units is still considered residential, so it's not on the commercial side yet, although it is multifamily and not single family. But basically, you just find the comps. So you find other duplexes in the area that have sold. If you can't find other duplexes within half a mile or a 1 mile radius, then you can use the rents in the area. So the average rent in the area. And there's a formula to calculate your offer that way. But first you want to start by looking up other duplexes that have sold in similar condition, or after renovated, or duplexes that are already rented out, and you find out what they sold for and get the ARV, work the formula that way. I wish there was a better setup for this live, I'm going to try to figure this out so that you can read the questions for me, if you don't mind. That's why you're here, right? Mm-hmm. Ooh, I just don't remember. This is my second time ever using YouTube Live, so thanks for bearing with me, guys. If you were on the first one, what's up? You was here when I was like, I think I don't even know how many subscribers I had back then. But this is live because I just reached 3,000 subscribers. I didn't even give an intro. I just jumped right to it because somebody had a question like immediately as I logged on. So let's back this up. I'm Dara, for those of you who don't know, but you probably do know since you're here, all 11 of you. And yeah, so this is my big, every time I hit a milestone, 1,000, 2,000, and now 3,000 subscribers. So this is me doing another live webinar, Q&A kind of thing. Ask me anything pertaining to real estate, wholesaling, investing, eating a plant-based diet, dance, travel, whatever that may be. So whatever reason you're following me for, even eBibio, my mom is here. So if you would like to learn some words, just shoot your question and you might get a lesson. But, so again, thanks for bearing with me. I am on my laptop here trying to figure out, last time I did a live, the questions were coming in so fast, so I had it on my laptop too so that I could answer as many questions as possible. So, that's what I'm trying to figure out here right now. Oh my goodness, 3,000, that's crazy. That is crazy. So thank you guys. All right, let me get a question or two out. You're not even tech savvy. I was like, could you try to figure it out? I know, it's okay. Nick J, do you wholesale virtual? If so, would you go about finding boots on the ground? I don't, but I would, if that makes sense. So I don't do virtual wholesaling, but it would make sense to have somebody in whatever market you are trying to virtually wholesale in. Robert Smith says, hello, how can the title company not disclose my fee on the HUD? One, is there a way for them to not disclose my spread? Yeah, they can just not disclose it if you do a double closing. That's the most straightforward way for them to not disclose it. Or depending on your relationship with them, you can just ask them to some way, somehow not disclose it if you're doing an assignment. I've heard that has been done. I've never had it done. So I think it really just depends on your relationship, trust level with them. And yeah, the easiest way to not disclose is just a double close. Yvette Shelton said, when submitting properties to your website, how can we get feedback? Was property what you're looking for? What happens next after submission? Yvette, I believe you're talking about my bird dog or property locating program on my website. So yes, if once you sign up, I do get an email that you signed up. And if you use the form on the website, and once you sign up, they send you a form. So every time you submit a property through that form, I do get notified. Now, how do you get notified on the stage of the lead? It'll be me reaching out or someone on my team reaching out to whoever referred that property. So again, just know it's about volume. So if you sent one property, two properties, the likelihood of that deal or that property being closed is lower than if it's a numbers game here in real estate investing. So, but throughout the stages, you'll get notified once the deal closes. So it's not like you send a property and we're like, hey, thanks, we skip trace the phone number. Hey, thanks, we got an appointment. Hey, thanks, we got it under contract. So you're not gonna get notified every step of the way. It's just whenever it closes, if it closes, you get notified. If it doesn't close, you don't hear anything from us. And that's just how that goes. So yeah, what happens next after submission? That basically. What places do you use to market aside from Craigslist and Facebook? There's Instagram. There's in person, going out to meetings, having properties. And I personally assume you're meaning marketing for buyers, because I don't use Craigslist to market for sellers. But yeah, if I'm marketing for buyers, I go out in person. If it's not on Craigslist or Facebook, it's in person or on Instagram. Hold on. I just want to get some questions out the way so you're not just watching me figure this out. Well, we're going to figure it out. I promise. Really quickly, Robert Smith said, what recourse do you have? Oh, hold on. I'm getting so many different notifications. No, it's not, because I'm not, I'm trying to figure out how to get on my live, hold on, I think I got it. Maybe. But the internet connection wants to be slow now. Okay, so here we are. I think Hold on. I don't know if we're here yet, for real, for real. Oh, yes, we are, I think. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it, I think.
You got it?
Yeah. I think. Nick, you a real one. He said hit a thumbs up while you're here. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Yeah, this is it. Oh, I'm so smart. I figured it out. Okay, so now I know for next time, and I won't hold y'all up and take up your time or whatever. So it's gonna be, you see it. You see the chat on the side, and then yeah, you don't have to start from the beginning because I've already answered some people's from the beginning. But while you search, let me answer this Robert Smith question that says, what recourse do you have if the seller decides to back out and choose not to honor our sales agreement? So it's good practice to, once you get a property under contract with a seller, so you take that purchase and sale agreement to the courthouse, you record it at the courthouse along with a memorandum of contract, which is basically something you have to go and pay for, but you're just filing your purchase and sale agreement at the county courthouse saying to everybody in the public, hey, you know, I'm going to be the one to sell this property. Basically, you're clouding the title. So nobody, no cash buyer that you deal with or no other person that the homeowner decides to sell their house to can purchase it without you being satisfied in some way. So that's either saying that, okay, you can only sell it to me. If you find somebody else you want to sell it to, it's a no-go, or that you or that person has to pay me for my equitable interest in the purchase of this property. So I hope that answers your question. So yes, now I'm not sure if you're saying that this homeowner has already done that, if they have already gone behind your back and sold it to somebody else. In that case, it would really depend on what's in your contract. It would depend on whether or not you had opened up escrow with your title company or closing attorney, whether you had put down a consideration, earnest money, or otherwise. So a lot of factors will play into that. But if you're talking about before it even gets to that point, then yes, you would need to file your contract down at the courthouse. I'm going back up, sorry.
What about Joanne asking about skip tracing? Did you see that?
What did she mean?
Said, what is the most accurate skip trace do you suggest?
The most accurate skip tracing. So
Joanne.
that's okay. I got the name. Got it. Thanks. So it depends on your wallet and your budget. So there's TLO, which is from TransUnion, which is, whether you know that or not, is one of the 3 credit bureaus. So they got everything, all the information on you and everybody in the United States. So you can get TLO access, which is a process to have to get access to. So there's that as far as level of accuracy, and then it goes down to like free sites. But I would suggest something, I would suggest going through like Upwork or Fiverr. So hiring someone who does have access to the high level accuracy or the high level accurate software to skip trace, and then just leveraging them. There's several other companies out there that do skip tracing. I'm not going to mention them just because none of them are sponsored by me, nor have I used them, but I have gone through Upwork to find somebody. And I actually have a video on that, so go look at that, on how to vet that person or those people to actually verify and make sure that they have the access. The first thing I saw was Paul Bird says it's wholesaling hard. I'm in Vegas and I don't know where to start. Is wholesaling hard? Wholesaling is simple but not easy. So it's very simple. It's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z. If you follow the steps, it's just about the amount of effort and action that you put behind it. It's harder when you're alone, but yeah, so it's simple but not easy, if that makes sense.
Brianna said, hey, Dad, love you.
Hey. Oh my God, I just talked to you, Brianna. We just talked the other day. What have I missed? Reggie Christ, I believe, said, my bad, do you two separate contracts, one for the seller and one for the buyer? Yeah, I use two separate contracts, a seller contract and a buyer contract, yes.
Did you see one from Dr. Lee?
Nope, what did it
He
say?
said, what's your advice when working with realtors and submitting offers? Please help.
I'm just playing. So the question was, what's my advice when working with realtors
Yes.
and submitting offers? Just be very explicit in what you want the contract to say, because if the realtor is using their standard realtor form or contract, there's a lot of clauses in there that may or may not be to your benefit. So whatever is in your own investor wholesaler contract for sellers, you want to make sure those clauses. So for example, you want to make sure there's an assignment clause on the contract with the realtor. And any other advice for making an offer with a realtor is just make the offer. Like I said, just be specific to, you have to know what closing date, what closing attorney, who the holder of the earnest money will be, how much the earnest money will be, your due diligence period, your purchase price, any contingencies you may or may not want to throw in there. And that's about it. That's how you make an offer with a realtor. I see Kayla Denwood said, hi, I'm trying to figure out how to do text blasts to my buyers. Do you have any suggestions? The company's name just literally escaped me, for doing text blasts. So at the moment, it just escaped me. I don't do it, but I was working with or partnering with a wholesaler who had a company, and that's what they did. They did text blasts and simultaneous email blasts to their buyers list, but the email blasts were through Podio. So I've done that, Podio email blast and MailChimp email blast, but I've never done text blast. Actually, I could even hit up I just got a text today from a wholesaler, so I might hit him up and see what he uses to answer your question. And then I might come back to this video after I post it and answer your question. Can you have a discount selling your contracts? Reese TV, why would I put a discount on my contracts? Does the title company also cloud the title? I don't believe so. The title company is there to find out any issues, breaks in the title, any liens on title. So their job is really to make sure the title is clean. Now, to cloud the title, that's when you go to the courthouse. So I don't know the answer to that. I don't think that a title company can cloud title. Hassani says, if I find motivated sellers in Atlanta, how can I JV with you? Hassani, you can leave your email. There's a couple things you can do. You can leave your email down here if you are comfortable doing that. You can follow me on Instagram or just DM me on Instagram and say, hey, I'm Hassani. I was just on your live and I said I want to JV with you, and we can go from there.
Did you get one from Moses?
No,
Chad?
no. What did
Said,
Moses?
hi, Dara. I'm in the Houston market, and I wanted to know what are some creative strategies that's legal for me to implement so that no gets left behind in Houston.
Okay, I see it. Hi, Dara. I'm in the Houston market, and I wanted to know, what are some creative strategies that's legal for me to implement so that no gets left behind? Chad, you're going to have to re-ask your question, because I really don't know what that means.
It's not clear.
Yeah, it's not clear. So just re-ask your question for me, please. Ayana Chapman says, have you ever went lower on an offer after realizing the deal wasn't that good, and seller, so yes, that's called renegotiating. So if you get a contract on a property with the seller at a certain price, there's 101 different things that could happen or that could cause you to have to go back to them and renegotiate to get a lower price. And I do it all the time, happens all the time. So yes, but just make sure you have some type of actual credible reason as to why you're getting it at a lower price. So that could be after maybe your buyers came and saw it and they're just like, or in their contractor, anything, you know, you maybe missed that there's foundation issues or something, there's mold, there's asbestos, that's going to make the repair cost go up. So of course, when something goes up, when the repair cost goes up, the purchase price has to go down. Or if maybe you did your comps wrong, I don't know. But if it's about the property and the repair cost going up, then yes, you can definitely renegotiate your contract price and go lower.
We have a question from Brianna about owner financing.
Okay.
So, do you pay property taxes and the monthly payment you agreed on with seller? Is that all you pay?
Brianna, do you pay?
Brianna,
I see it. Do you pay property taxes and the monthly payment you agreed on with the? So, with owner financing, you are not, depending on the type of strategy that you use with owner financing. I've said it in several of my videos. It's an umbrella term, and then with owner financing, you are not going on title, so therefore you do not have property taxes to pay. That's the owner's responsibility to pay the property taxes. So yeah, so she said, is that all you pay? So all you pay in an owner financing deal is whatever you agreed to pay them monthly. And if that covers the taxes, then that's great for them, but you don't have to pay separately because you can't write it off anyway. It's like rent. It's like you're paying rent and then just throwing it away practically.
Okay, see that from Greg McCoy saying, "Hi Dad, I love your course so far."
Ooh, Greg, what's up? Yeah, Greg, hi. I see it. Greg says, "Hi Dar, I love your course so far." Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. If I'm on the buyer side of a JV deal, how do I present the offer from the sellers to my buyer? If you're on the buyer side of the JV deal, how do I present the offer from the sellers to my buyer? Okay, so this is what I understand you to be asking. So it's a JV deal with you and another wholesaler. This is you, this is the other wholesaler. The wholesaler has a contract with the homeowner, I'm assuming, and they've come to you and said, "Hey, Greg, find me a buyer." All right, so now all you have to do is first find out whether that wholesaler wants you to add your fee on top or whether that wholesaler is including you and your fee in whatever price he's asking or she's asking. So once you find that out, you either put it out. So, for example, if the wholesaler is like, "Hey, I got a deal for $50,000, that's what I'm asking." And then you say, "Hey, wholesaler, is it cool if I get a cut out of your profit at 50?" And they're like, "Well, no, I don't have that much spread, so just add whatever you want on top." So in that case, you put it out to your buyers at like 52, 53, whatever. And then when that happens and your buyer pulls the trigger, it's like, "Yeah, I want it at this price," then you just get the difference between 53 and 50, making sure that you have the paperwork with all parties, the buyer and the wholesaler, so that you get paid. So if I've answered your question, let me know. If not, just let me know too. Greg, you should have been on the live on Monday, but it's okay. Let's see. Tony REI Necessity says, "Do you have any Airbnb property that you purchased subject to or owner financing, and would you?" To come. So I do have a property that I acquired subject to, and for the amount of time that I've had it, we just had it as a traditional rental. As soon as those people get out, then we're gonna make it an Airbnb. But that's a great strategy. Creatively, owner financing subject to, and put it on Airbnb. And that's what we want to do with this one. Patriot Minded said, "Do you do any cold calling? If so, if working alone, what's a good target to hit daily?" So this all depends on your resources and your wallet, because there's power dialers that allow you to actually make a lot of phone calls in a day. So if you have a power dialer, you can make even up to 85 phone calls a day, maybe more. But if you don't have a power dialer, such as Mojo Dialer, for instance, which is not sponsored by me or anything, then, so if you don't, and you're just like literally physically hang up and picking up and dialing, then Then, if you're by yourself, it really depends. It depends on the level of rapport you're building with the homeowner and how long the conversations take. Because I've even had like one conversation take up to 30 minutes, but if that's the case, you can only get so many calls done a day. So it would vary, but I know for a fact with the power dialer, you're able to do a lot more volume, even if it's just you, one person, making the cold calls. So 85 is doable, 100 is doable even. And then I'd say if you don't have the power dialer, I'd say maybe it's definitely possible to get anywhere between 30 and 50 in a day. But that's up to you and your level of, yeah. And yeah. All right, so another thing I will say, because Ayana, I see that you said, but they didn't approve first offer. I don't know what you're talking about. So if you asked a question that I answered, or I like asked you back another question, you have to reference that too, because I don't know what you mean when you say, but they didn't approve first offer. Heather, what's up, girl? We talked like some time ago. Anyways, hey Dar, that first deal fell through. Working on another one. Okay, wow. So good. On to the next. But I would love to know in detail if you have time, if you care to share what happened. But yeah, it's on to the next, unless it's salvageable. Or I was just telling people this the other day, the power of tag teaming. So I believe, Heather, we talked, I don't remember if you said you had a partner or not. But if you do have somebody that you're doing this with, you can just entrust, then you can just have them tag team. If it's maybe something that maybe you fumbled up with on the seller, with the deal, and it was like, unless it's the seller like, no, I just don't want to do this. But yeah, I like to tag team. So, oh man, like this deal fell through my hands, but hey, I'm gonna alley oop it to you, and hopefully you can slam dunk it, my partner. Okay, this one, I'm going up back to the top because I feel like there was some that I missed. I'm looking at, yes, Joni or Johnny Fletcher. Hi, Dara. What happens if the buyer doesn't perform and ghosts leading up to closing? Can I move to find another buyer on, or am I locked in? He didn't send in earnest money, but says he does plan to move forward. Yeah, always have backup buyers. Always, always, always. So if your buyer doesn't perform, they're in breach of contract. So then, yes, you are able to find and should find another buyer who can perform. And he says he didn't send in earnest money, but he says he plans to move forward. Talk is cheap, money's not. So tell him to put his money where his mouth is and put that earnest money deposit down. And even if he does put the earnest money deposit down and goes, you hopefully your contract allows you to keep the earnest money.
Kelly is talking about, say, do you target pre-foreclosures or probate? And if so, what's the best way to approach these more sensitive leads?
Yes. So with these types of leads, I just ask them what I ask any other person. I'm calling and I'm interested in this property. Are you interested in selling it? So that's always how I approach it. I never bring up the deceased or whoever they inherited their property from. If they decide to bring it up, then that's fine and we can go from there, but I never bring it up. Yeah, so you have a house to sell. I'm interested in it. Are you interested in selling? Is how I approach that.
Chase Moses came back with a Houston question.
Okay.
Said, what are other ways to be creative other than lease options, which is illegal here in Houston, Texas market? So they can do lease option in Texas. What other creative way can you approach that?
I wonder why you can't do lease options in Texas. So creative financing is an umbrella term. Lease option is just one of the legs of the umbrella. So maybe you can try subject to in Houston or Texas or whatever. Yeah, in Houston.
Texas.
Try subject to. That's a creative strategy to acquire property. Yeah, you can even, another creative way to acquire property is to partner with the homeowner. That I don't think many people talk about at all. Um, you can create a deal. It's really creative, it's just however creative you are. And I understand that you mentioned that you want it to be legal, but it's quite legal to partner with the homeowner, find a cash buyer, and if they want to rehab the property, find a way to do some kind of profit share with all parties and make it sure it's a win-win. So I think it works best when the owner owns the property free and clear. But even if they have a mortgage, it's possible to profit share. Who have we not? Okay.
Dr. Lee
Says what?
said, what do you yourself prefer to work with, motivated sellers only or with realtor, and if so, why? Also, if I am to send a proof of funds with a realtor, should I send a copy of a check also?
The questions were, what do I personally prefer to work with motivated sellers or realtors when acquiring properties? Motivated sellers. I like to be direct. I don't really like middle people because as wholesalers, we're already the middle person. So I don't like too many middle people. But so yeah, I like to go straight to motivated sellers directly. And then for the follow-up question, it was what?
Follow-up question was, if I'm to send a proof of funds to a realtor, should I send a copy of a check also?
So proof of funds is, proof of funds. Proof of funds is going to be either a statement from your bank, a bank statement, saying how much you have, your proof of funds, or it's going to be a letter from a hard money lender or a private money lender, stating how much they have approved you to invest or spend on a property. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the traditional way of buying a house. When you go to a bank, getting a mortgage, you get a pre-qualification letter, a pre-approval letter. So that letter is stating, hey, sellers, this person, we have authorized, verified all their paperwork and all their credit scores and credit history and things like that, their income. We've approved them of this amount of money to spend on a house. So same thing with the hard money lender. So you either get a letter, proof of funds letter, or your proof of funds is your bank statements. So I don't think there's a reason to present a check. Really? Yeah.
There's another question about lease option.
Okay.
It's from, oh no, let me do it. Brandon Simpson. Say, if you have no money, how do you handle the inspection part as well as proof of funds?
If you have no money, how do you handle the inspection part? So, if you're wholesaling, then you don't have to pay for an inspection or an inspector. Your buyer will do all that. You tell your buyer, do your own due diligence, and that's part of their due diligence if they so choose to inspect the property. So if you don't have money, you don't have to worry about paying for an inspection if you're wholesaling the property. And then what else did he want to know about?
Part of proof of funds.
So if you don't have money, how do you get proof of funds?
Mm-hmm.
You would get it from you would use your cash buyer's proof of funds. So it doesn't matter if it's the actual buyer who's going to buy it. You should have a list of cash buyers, and I have a video on my channel on how to vet your cash buyers. I think I have a couple, but yeah, I have a video on my channel about how to vet your cash buyers, and I do suggest and recommend that you get proof of funds from them. In most cases, get proof of funds from them, and then just utilize that, leverage that. But it doesn't have to be that buyer who actually ends up buying the deal from you.
Somebody came back with another question about lease option, but I think there's a lot of confusion there. Said another question, when lease optioning, if I plan on staying in the middle, do I still need to consult my attorney, or wait until the tenant buyer is ready to exercise their option to buy.
So if you want to stay in the middle of a lease option, otherwise known as a sandwich lease option, do you need to consult with your attorney for what? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I need to consult with my attorney. Or wait until the tenant buyer is ready to exercise their option to buy.
The latter. Wait
Yes.
until the tenant buyer is ready to exercise, because in the middle, they're just leasing. You're in the middle, so you're paying the owner, and then the tenant buyer is paying you. So this is all rent. This is just lease. When you rent from a landlord, there's no attorneys involved. So it's not until the purchase actually is about to happen that you get an attorney involved. All right, so I see a lot. I saw Greg, make sure I get to him. He said, hello, I was at work. You answered part of my question, but what specifically do I say to my buyer as far as giving them details about the property so if you're JVing and a wholesaler has sent you a property to blast or sent to your buyers, you tell them exactly what you know. So, yeah, so I also have videos on my channel about how to market to cash buyers. So you need to tell them the address, you need to tell them the purchase price, you need to tell them the bed and bath count, the ARV, the scope of work. I mean, everything that you know, the access, how to go see the property. You can also be transparent if you so choose and tell them that, hey, this isn't my deal. I got a buddy or a partner who I'm trying to, help get this off his books or her books or whatever. So I'm trying to help move this property. Are you interested? And I'm sending it to you because I know, it's a great deal. It's up your alley. So here. So that's your approach. You just tell them everything you know about the property and the deal, and then you can choose to or not disclose that it's yours or not. So a lot of people sometimes like to know. They ask, hey, are you direct to seller? Are you direct to the owner? So if that question comes up, you can be like, no, I'm not direct to the homeowner. However, my partner has a contract with the homeowner, and I'm just here to help him actually move it quicker. So I hope that did answer your question. Another question, Greg. When lease option, I think you already answered that, or we talked about that. Yes. Heather, buyer wants more, not possible. The market is being gentrified. He wants to wait. On to the next. Yep, on to the next. I'm trying to figure out better strategies of getting more leads. I'm doing what you say, JVing. Whatever I close on, they get half. Okay, cool. Yep. I think somebody asked a long time ago if wholesaling was hard, but onto what Heather was saying about finding a better strategy to get more leads. The easiest way to get a bulk list of leads is to purchase one, or to purchase a list of leads. That could be a pre-foreclosure list, that could be a probate list, that could be absentee vacant owner list, that could be people are getting creative these days, or I don't know if it's like anything new, but I've seen it a lot more that people are going to the county and getting a list of disconnected water service. So there's a lot of ways, delinquent taxes. So if you just get a list, then I think that you're very surefire to have a lot of leads to work with. All right. Sam says, if you were a one-man team, how would you construct your day after working 9 to 5 to close deals? That's a good question. So if you work 9 to 5, then that means you have 5 to 9 to work on your business, your wholesaling career. And so I would just utilize, I would start by on the weekends, early in the morning, like Saturday morning, spending a few hours driving for dollars, collecting leads, if that's what you so choose to do. And then you can skip trace those leads and call them. So you work until 5. So that gives you from 5 to 8-ish at the latest to cold call sellers. Now, you don't have to go driving for dollars, like I just mentioned to the group. I was going to say Heather, but the group. You can purchase lists. So you can purchase the list, get those skip trace, and then, like I said, from the hours of 5 to 8, you can cold call and use your weekends to go on appointments.
You get one from Lives United. Said, I saw you did a Section 8 video for Subleasing. can you transition it into a lease option? Have you ever let the owner aware of it later on?
I see the question, so I read it along. Yeah, so the possibilities are endless as far as the strategies that I do when I call homeowners to do a sublease. And as you saw in the call, I'm very straight up from the beginning on what I plan to do. I'm not living in the property, I'm putting somebody else in. And I think I did, or I do specify that we're doing it for short-term rentals such as Airbnb. But if I wanted to do a lease option, then that's something that I have the authority to do based on the lease agreement that we signed. The agreement states something along the lines of the landlord knows that the tenant is not occupying, they're running it as a business, and others will be in and out of this business, they'll be subletting the place. So it's something that if I so choose to tell them that, hey, I'm deciding to do a lease option on this home, then I'd let them know.
But you can transition into a sublease though, lease option.
From a sublease?
No, you can, yeah.
Why?
From a sublease to lease option
Mm-hmm.
With your homeowner,
Mm-hmm.
if you want a home.
What's your reasoning? Two heads are better than one. Or you want to take over my live? So what she was saying is that you cannot transition from a sublease to a lease option. So you care to explain why?
No, I thought you were saying that on section 8, if you sublease.
No.
Oh.
She mentioned section 8 because in the video I was
Oh.
calling section 8 landlords.
Oh, okay.
But you would have to let the agreement is different. Like actually it's not. It's a lease agreement when you do a lease option. It's just any agreement, a purchase, sale, lease, JV, any agreement is just what two people agree on, two or more people agree on. So whatever you have in your lease, y'all agree on it, then it stands, you know. Brandon Simpson said, the attorney I consulted suggested that we get an inspection on the property. He said it is risky if we don't get it inspected. What kind of risks are involved with not getting the property inspected? Brandon, why you didn't ask the attorney that? No, so yeah, if your attorney said to advise, because they're a legal counsel, they advised you to get an inspection because it's risky, you should have been, okay, so what risks are involved? But here's the thing, and I believe that you had asked about lease options, I can't remember, but if you were asking about sandwich lease options, when you rent a property from somebody, you don't get it inspected. However, this is a little bit different because you're a little more savvy, so when you know better, you do better. But the risk involved with not with not inspecting the property is if something goes wrong, you just didn't know about it, you know? So when you do, I think we're talking about lease options. When you do lease options, the maintenance and responsibility is on the tenant buyer and not the owner. So if you don't get it inspected, it's kind of, you're just really like leasing it with no disclosures, basically. So if something was to go wrong, if there was asbestos, nobody knew because nobody checked. And it's literally like if you were to rent an apartment or a house, there's no one that inspects it. For wholesaling. Oh, okay, we're not even talking about lease option. We're talking about wholesaling. So if you, as a wholesaler, do not get the property inspected. No, let's take this back. Because, yes, your question was, if you have no money, how do you get an inspection? Again, that's your cash buyer's responsibility. That's their due diligence. So if you, as a wholesaler, don't get the property inspected, there's no risk because you are selling it as is to your cash buyers. You're letting them know it's as is. And most cash buyers understand that. So I don't know. Most cash buyers understand that I'm buying this property. It's a piece of junk. It's going to need work. And they should get it inspected for themselves. So no risk, really. That's why wholesaling is low risk. Wholesaling is simple. Humans make it complicated. I hear ya. Heather says, I'm working like a farmer. You don't work, you don't eat. Yes. Love the lock. Thanks. Thank you for that. You're welcome. How to deal with a realtor. You don't. I'm kidding. So how to deal with a realtor. Specify what you mean by that. Seriously, literally working as I watch on my day off. Yes, Heather. A beast out of Texas. Sweet, thank you so much. I'm not clear. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I think the questions are like simmering down.
Did you answer this one about the attorney suggesting that somebody do inspection on a property?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How to do a wholesale deal with a realtor. So, again, I'm just going to assume that maybe the property's listed and you're reaching out to the realtor to get the property in the contract and assign it. So I did, and I don't know when you joined, but I did answer the question before. So you just make an offer on the property like you would to a homeowner. But in this case, you want to add certain stipulations that you want spelled out in the contract. So you make sure that the contract is assignable when you're working with a realtor. And then if their client, because it's not up to them, if their client agrees on a price, then the realtor will change the status of the property on the MLS from active to pending. And then when you blast it to your cash buyers, everybody sees that it was listed on the MLS. So unless it's a smoking hot fire deal, your asking price should be less than what it is on the MLS. So that means you should have offered less than what is asked on the MLS. Hope that answers your question. It's still not too clear, but I hope I did answer the question. Mm-hmm. Have you dealt with pre-foreclosures? Yes. Yep, that's exactly. Okay, yes. Well, you're welcome, Miss Creative Beauty. Okay, so now I have a question for you guys. There's 24 people still rocking with me. If you can, drop an emoji. Drop the raising your hand emoji if you have done a deal before, a wholesale deal. And if you haven't, then just don't put anything. If you haven't, just say, hey, I haven't done a deal yet. And then we'll work to help you get there. Brianna says, where do you get your list from? I get my list depending on what it is. If I was to get probate lists, I would get it from the probate court. And what I use is I go to ListSource to get absentee owner leads, pre-foreclosure leads. However, I have the hookup on List. So if you want List for the cheap, you can go to the link. It'll be in the description box once I upload this video. But yeah, you can order them from me because they're cheaper than what you can get them for on ListSource. Ooh, Sam says I pick up a contract today. I know that's right. Would this be your first? B. Marie loves. Haven't done a deal yet. Do you mentor? I do. So that link will also be in the description box after this video is uploaded. I recently launched a coaching program, guys. So yeah, plug here, shameless plug here. I do have a coaching program, and I'm not wearing the t-shirt because I ain't got it made yet, but it's called 5 Figures for Real. And I came up with that name because on my very first deal, I made 5 figures, so it's for real. So yes, I do have a coaching program, and the website is extremely long, so I would say it. And I wish I could, maybe I could like comment it. Can I do that? Wow, this is not like Instagram Live. Yeah, so no, I can't comment the link, but I will. You can go on literally any one of my videos and find it, but I will put it on this one too. But 5 Figures for Real is my coaching program. I have well over 18 different lesson plans and videos, literally showing you like, this is me walking to do this. This is me driving for dollars. This is what I'm looking for. This is the apps that I use. You know, these are the contracts that I use, the scripts that I use. We do have live Q&A sessions just like this every week. This one right here on YouTube is like random because, like I said, I made it to 3,000 subscribers. So this is my big hurrah for reaching 3,000 subscribers as far as the webinar goes. But if you were to join my coaching program, you got me every single week answering questions like this. Haven't done a deal yet. Super new, but had 3 appointments. Tell the people what you've done. How did you get 3 appointments and you're super new? Share with the class. That's always a world. Not yet working on the perfect strategy. There is no perfect strategy, so don't strive for perfection, is what I would say, Heather. Hi, Dara. Loving your content and all of your helpful information. Just started following you. I'm starting out wholesaling, and you're a big inspiration. Thank you so much, Kay Davis. Welcome. Ooh, I see a hand. Bright Futures has done a deal. That's what's up. How do you get your comps? I get my comps using the MLS, but I do have a video on my channel on if you don't have MLS access, how you can use Zillow to find comps. Ooh, Our Lives United has done a deal. What's up? Okay, no deal. Oh, Samson, this is your second contract. That's what's up. All right, Torres and Co-Investments. Hey, Dara, I love your videos, by the way. Thank you. I spoke to a FISBO today. She asked 50K. My ARV is 56. My Mayo was 10 to 15. Did I start too high? Last sold for 6. Whoa, this deal is all kinds of backwards. All right, so the ARV is 56,000, and they're asking 50,000, so they want retail. Your maximum allowable offer was 10 to 15,000. Did you start too high? I don't know, because I don't know what the repairs are, but I would probably try to make this a creative deal or no deal at all, to be honest. Ooh, somebody said I got one under contract now. That's what's up. Our Lives United. Okay, and you raised your hand because you've done a deal before. So keep going. Keep at it. Where did you get your bird dog t-shirt from? I'm glad you asked. I'm not wearing my bird dog t-shirt, but this is another t-shirt that I've designed. But I got my bird dog t-shirt from myself. I created it, and if you want one, you can order one. So I'll have a link to that as well in this video once I upload it. But that site is a little bit simpler than my coaching program. So that's just daradoes.bigcartel.com. And yeah, so if you want a bird dog t-shirt, if you want this one that says, maybe it's backwards. To me, it's backwards. I don't know if it's backwards to you guys. It says, if I'm going to flip a ugly house, I'm going to make it look sexy. And that, guys, is a reference from Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people don't get it, so that just means you're not woke. Just kidding. But yeah, so the one that looks like Bird Box. Yeah. Brandon, I designed that. So you can get yours too. Thank you, Brianna. She said, congratulations on 3,000. Woo, go Dara. Yay. Thanks. Have you did virtual wholesaling? I have not done virtual wholesaling. I tried it when I was just starting out. I was so eager. I got a deal from like West Bumble in Alabama. And if you don't know, guys, I live in Georgia. So I was like, oh yeah, Alabama. How do I do this deal in Alabama? And I had another one in North Carolina and all these other places that were just so hick town. So it would just never ended up happening. So no, I haven't done a virtual wholesale deal. This deal that Torres, you mentioned, the repairs are 30K. Nah, bruh. Oof. Get creative, like offer creative financing, but other than that, keep it moving. Unless you can get it for like 5,000, and then even in. Chaz says, do you do phone consultations? And if so, where you been, Chaz? It's okay, because I know some people are new to me. But yes, I do phone consultations. That link is a little simpler than the other ones too, but that's just my name, daraabasute.as.me. So daraabasute.as.me. abasute.me. And abasute is everywhere on this video, I'm sure, but it's ABASUTE. But a link will be on the video as well. So, yes, Chaz, I do. Yes, thank you. I just diving and getting my hands dirty. I sent out direct mail to pre-foreclosures. Yes, send them out, girl or guy. I have an appointment on Monday. Heather, you are killing it. I wish you the best of luck on this appointment. That's what it's all about. Have you done any multifamily wholesaling, like a quadruplex with it hard finding a buyer? Yes, no. I haven't done a quad, but I have done multifamily, and it's not too hard to find a buyer. I mentioned it earlier in the live. I don't know when you joined, but there's RIAs for practically everything. There's RIAs for wholesalers. There's RIAs for cash buyers, multifamily buyers, commercial buyers. So if you just go out to RIA meetings, you can find you a buyer. You can post it on Facebook and things like that. Especially like a quad. Yeah, it's pretty simple, I would say, or just as simple to sell multifamily. Have you ever wholesaled a commercial property? Is it pretty much the same, or is it very different? I have not. And let me just clarify, because a lot of people I think are going to keep asking me multifamily, commercial, I am going to find a lane, or I found a lane, I'm sticking to it. If opportunities come to where like, oh, okay, this is a quad or whatever, can I find a buyer? Sure, but I'm not actively seeking commercial properties to flip and things like that. Now, I honestly was just like all of you guys asking me in the beginning. I was like, ooh, shiny object, and that's the thing. The shiny object syndrome is so real. So I would say find an alley and stick to it. But no, I haven't done commercial. And is it different? Actually, I think I answered this question in my last live. Pretty sure I did. But yeah, so I think with commercial properties, it's called syndicating a deal. So what we do on the residential side as the middleman, we create a deal basically with the homeowner. We create whatever the package and send it to the buyer. With commercial, on the commercial side, I believe that's called syndicating, which I think is a little bit more involved. I won't say difficult because I'm not sure the process, but I think it's just a little bit more involved. And in that situation, I would work with a realtor. I know a lot of commercial realtors who are investor savvy or investor friendly. So I personally would seek the knowledge of others in the commercial sphere. This one, Nomastic 3P, says how many days do you get to find a buyer? Do you use a typical 15-day inspection? All right, how many days do I get? How many days do you get? But my answer is however many you say. But if you're asking me, how many days do I get as many as up to the closing. But you can set your time frame to whatever you want. I have a property where the seller wants to accept our offer, but you recommended we use the cash buyer's proof of funds. At what point do you contact your buyer? Oh. If the seller wants to accept your offer and they haven't asked for proof of funds, then don't bring it up. Don't bring it up. Don't say nothing. So at what point do you contact your buyers about the property? You contact your buyers once it's in ink with the seller. The only time I would say you can pre-sell it to your buyers is if you sent the contract out to the buyer, maybe the seller electronically maybe, and you're just like waiting on them to sign it. But you don't want it to be a situation where you told buyers about it and for whatever reason the seller got cold feet and they backed out and it's just like, oh, okay, well, that deal doesn't exist anymore. So once it's said and done, that's when I would send it to the buyers. Or if you want to send it before it's like completely etched in stone, then I would send it to my buyers without an address and then just send them the numbers and see if they are rocking with the numbers. We have only a few seconds to go. Look at the time. I feel like cold calling is the easiest in wholesaling. It's starting off that's hardest, like good title companies buyers. The best way to find a good title company is just ask other wholesalers who they use. ask other investors who they use, and boom, there it is. Mm-hmm. He said our seller did ask for proof of funds. So they I guess verbally accepted your offer, but they still want you to provide proof of funds. Okay, well, if you don't have it, you have to find a way to get it from someone else. That's what leverage is all about. You could really quickly network with some hard money lenders who can draft you up a letter. There are places where you can go online and get like fake proof of funds letters. But the only downfall to that is if the seller is savvy enough to call and follow up, they'll realize that it's not really what it seems. But if they're not, then it's just like, oh, okay, wow, you have this much money to play with. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna answer like the last few that I see because we are now almost past an hour, and I do have other things to do. I have to go run. How would you explain your sales process with sellers? Yeah, this is gonna be for another day. Sorry, I'm gonna. So then somebody says, "How are you?" So how are you, this Calvin? Don't know what that means. Okay, so then someone says, "Is there a way I can advertise the deal and filter out the people from real buyers to wholesalers?" You can do paid advertising and target it specifically to buyers. You can do some homework and do some research to find out true cash buyers in an area and target specifically those people. And you can weed out wholesalers that way. All right, last one for real. Somebody said, why would a realtor ask for proof of funds to see a property? The realtor asks you for proof of funds in order for you to, because they don't want their time wasted. That's basically like a realtor who is asking you, it's either proof of funds or a pre-qualification letter. If you're a buyer, which in this case, as a wholesaler, you are a buyer, but since you say you're a cash buyer, they want proof of funds rather than a pre-qual letter. So anyway, they just don't want to waste their time. They want to know that you have money and you're not just going out to waste their time to see the property. And that concludes this live Ask Me Anything. Time really does fly on these things. So thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, all the links that I have to my t-shirts, to my coaching program, to my one-on-one phone consultations, to my contracts, to my leads, literally all of that will be in the description box once I upload this video, which should be quite shortly here. And thank you guys all for joining me. Thank you for 3,000. Let's push it to the next 1,000 and let's just keep growing. So yeah, that's all for now. Thank you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.